But before that, we also need to talk about what causes the bad legibility. And I'm going to tell you the 4 factors that are decreasing the quality of legibility. So I'll call it bad handwriting factors. So the factor number 1 is something I call inconsistent vertical elements. So if a letter is supposed to go vertically, like the stems in the letter L, E, T, E, and R, sometimes people tend to lose the control over the verticals, all over the vertical stems in their letters, and their letters could look something like this. Of course, I am exaggerating that a bit, but just to give you the idea, I'm talking about the loss of the verticals control in their letters. Another factor causing bad legibility is something I call bloated letters. So let's say a letter E, letter F, letter L, letter M, they are supposed to have those sharp corners, sharp angles. And some people tend to write these letters something looking like that. So in that scenario, you lose that sharp element, and suddenly these sharp elements are lost because we have this tendency to curve things up a bit. Okay? And then we will continue with 2 more factors causing bad legibility. The third one is inconsistency of line height and direction. So I'm talking about a situation like this. Not only we lose the control over the text line height, it becomes variable. So it shrinks down and can also increase as well, but also the direction of the text line is changing. And this is not good. So this is also something that contributes to the lack of legibility of your handwriting. And finally, the 4th factor, large factor, is not connecting letter elements. What I mean here is that you are supposed to connect the sub-elements of each character so that they look as a whole, but you might have the tendency of losing things up a bit. So they're not really connecting. There might be like a bit apart from each other, and as soon as you introduce these gaps between the elements, that also can confuse the observer, the person who is trying to read that text. And why do these factors contribute to the lack of legibility of your handwriting? Why, for example, is that more difficult to read that letter compared to this letter, a bloated letter compared to the sharp corners letter, or let's say what's wrong with the line winding like that, or why cannot you just understand this is a letter L? The reason for this is that people are not really reading words letter by letter. So if we take a word letter, we don't actually go through them like L, E, T, T, E, R, and then a person looking at those letters and then thinking like, okay, so this is L, this is E, and so forth. So, this is probably the word letter. It's not how we actually read. And the way we read is a bit different. It's more like you absorb the entire image of the word, and then you are comparing what you see against the library of what you know. And as soon as you find the match on your internal library of words, and then you know, this is a word pertaining to an abstract meaning a letter. So as long as you agree that we are not reading words letter by letter, but we are actually doing some kind of a pattern search against our internal library, then it makes it easier to understand what is actually causing problems with legibility. As long as what you wrote down looks far away from what is supposed to be depicted as a word, then it makes it more, you could say, harder for our brain to match the sample against what we expect from the word to look like. So, meaning that it's important for us to find the letter form that minimizes the discrepancy between what we expect from a word to look like from how it actually looks like after we wrote it down on a piece of paper or on a whiteboard. As soon as you realize that, then you will start chasing your handwriting that takes you closer to the expected look and feel of a word.